Top of the morning to you all, and welcome to another edition of the Sal Greco Show. And I'm your host, Sal Greco. Thank you all for being here. I see you. 92 Charlie, Joe Roscoe. I guess you've been here before. Rag Groshitz. I see you. Good morning, present for duty. Also, Lone Silencer, Matt O'Brien. But a special shout out right off the bat to Frankie Palaguacci. Sends $499.99 to the Sal Greco Show. Says, thank you, Sal and Eric Sanders, for shining a light on misconduct, retaliation, and unlawful practices within the NYPD. People of integrity and courage stand with you. God bless you both. God bless you, Frank. I haven't forgotten about you. You've always been here. You've always supported us. You've been donated so much. I don't know how many cafecitos we could have here today. I think I'm going to actually need a defibrillator at the end of the show. But, there's a lot going on, and we're going to get to a lot of stuff. So, and I'm going to we're going to wait till almost the end to get into some of the shocking news we found out yesterday. All right. James Jordan's in here. Good morning to you. Good morning to Samara Cohen's here. Detective Fury, shout out to Detective Fury. There's so much news, but I'm going to get to a few things. First, if you're following us right now on X, at the Sal Greco, please hit that like button, share this out, especially those in the low information bubble. If you're watching this on YouTube, at the Sal Greco Show channel, please hit that like button, share this out, hit the notification bell, become a subscriber. There's a ton of content there. And also on Rumble, if you can, please hit the Rumble button, like button. Also become a follower there and share this out through Rumble if that's your way of doing things. But number one, I have to start with this video. We'll see. I don't know. But let's start with this video right here. Okay, this is something now. I got this video very early. I don't know what other people are talking about. I got this early in the evening hour, morning hours. So it was on TikTok. This is a TikTok video. I didn't go out of my way to post this thing. So this was sent to me through TikTok. You could also follow us on TikTok, by the way, at the Sal Greco Show. So let's play this video, and then we'll dissect this. Yeah. So look, that video, there's a lot to be said there. Obviously, it looks like an emotionally disturbed person. It looks like someone who's, I don't know, could he be arrested for the thing? I can't tell you the whole circumstance there. That's the video that's on TikTok. I know one thing. You're not trained in the New York City Police Department to handcuff someone, and then after they're handcuffed, when they're in control and in custody, strike them. I don't know which MMA guy or whatever, 20th degree black belt. That's not how they train you to do in the police department. So just to put that out there. But let's see Patrol Guide Procedure 22101, because there's a lot of, I even put that up because I was talking about this, and it's in 4 parts. These are the force guidelines, okay? So let's just start scrolling down a little bit and seeing what this is addressing, right? So determining whether the use of force is reasonable should consider the nature and severity of crime, circumstances, an emotionally disturbed person, actions taken by the subject. I can't tell you what happened there. Duration of the action, Immediacy of the perceived threat or harm to the subject, members of the service, and or bystanders. I don't know what he was doing. Whether the subject is actively resisting custody. He's already in custody. Whether the subject is attempting to evade arrest by flight. That's not happening. Number of subjects in comparison to number of MOS. 1 against 3. Size, age, condition of subject in comparison to MOS. Presence of a hostile crowd or agitators. That all doesn't exist. Oh, subject apparently under the influence of stimulant narcotic, which would affect pain tolerance or increase the likelihood of violence. Maybe he's on drugs. I don't know. We don't know that. Let's go to page 2. Page 2. Excessive force will not be tolerated. MOS use excessive force will be subject to department discipline up to and including dismissal. I want you to remember that because in the New York City Police Department, as we've learned, the patrol guide is used as a sword or a shield. So those who screaming some crazy thing, remember, you're using it as a shield. They're going to use it as a sword. So right there, what does that tell you? That one line already can be used against you. It doesn't matter what you're trying to cite. They're going to cite that and say, we're going to use it against you because it's in the patrol guide. So let's go back to that. Let's go back to that page 2 and then page 3 because I'm just doing this, folks. I'm doing this step by step, not illogically. Objectively, reasonably standard, right? There's the reasonableness of the use of force is based upon the totality of circumstances known by the MOS at the time of the use of force. Department examines the reasonableness of force viewed by the perspective of a member with similar training and experience. Training and experience placed into the same circumstances as the incident under investigation. Use of force deemed by the investigating supervisor, I don't know if there's a supervisor on scene, as greater than that which a reasonable officer in the same situation would use under the circumstances that existed and were known to the MOS at the time use of force. Prohibited methods of restraint, sitting, kneeling, standing on the chest or back of a subject in a manner that compresses the diaphragm, thereby reducing the subject's ability to breathe. More on that in a little bit. Says can't do the chokehold, right? Let's go to the next page. This is page number 3, right? Prohibitions. When it says members of service shall not. See, discharge a firearm, defense of property, fire warning shots. This is all about your firearm. This is all firearms. So let's scroll this down a little bit. Just a little bit. That's all firearm stuff. Here we go. Here's what you want to get into. Members of the service shall not use a prohibited method of restraint. Prohibited method of restraint. Remember that. Okay? They didn't use a chokehold. Then let's go to the final pages, page 4. You go to the very top. Use any level of force to punish, retaliate, or coerce a subject to make statements. Any level of force to punish, pain, for compliance by pain. Use any level of force. I'm reading this. I don't know. People are just screaming out loud the last 24 hours. I'm reading this right off the patrol guide procedure itself. So use any level of force on handcuffed subject. Let's go back to that. Handcuffed or otherwise restrained subject unless necessary to prevent injury, escape, or to overcome active physical resistance or assault. That's what everyone's trying to hang their hat on. But in the same, any level of force on handcuffed or otherwise restrained person who's actively resisting, they're in handcuffs with 2 officers on top. Now, I'm going to show you something that people didn't know about. So there was a study or actually a memorandum that NYPD sent to the government and the DOJ. And it's in regards to the prone asphyxiated position. You know what that is? When you have a subject handcuffed, let's keep this on the screen. This is National Law Enforcement Technology Center. This is where published this. Positional asphyxiation, sudden death. You can't have someone in handcuffs on the ground on their stomach for a very long period of time. In fact, what they want is you subdue the suspect, put him in handcuffs, and then immediately, which is said in the patrol guard procedure, you have to lift them up in a prone. Can't keep them prone. You got to put them in a sitting prone position. You can't have them prone on their stomach. And I want you to go back to that. There's 3 pages. So there's a second page, and then there's a right on the right side of this. I don't know if you can pull it on the right side of that. That's the third one. That's the second one. The next one. See this? Third page right here. So on the right, to the right, we're going to go down this list on the very top. I need to, NYPD guidelines to preventing deaths in custody. So let's zoom in on that part. The right side of the screen where it says the NYPD, because people need to see this. All right. As soon as the subject is handcuffed, get him off his stomach, take him on his side, or place him in a seated position. Did I see that yet? I did not see that at all, in fact. We didn't see that, right? So that's civil rights violation number 1. Let's keep reading that. Yeah, put that back up. People need to hear the reality of the legality of this. If he continues to struggle, do not sit on his back. Hold his legs down or wrap his legs with a strap. Never tie the handcuffs to a leg or ankle restraint. If required, get the suspect immediate medical attention. Do not lay the person on his stomach during transport to a station house or hospital. Instead, place him in a seated position. An officer should sit in the rear seat beside the suspect for observation and control. That's the New York City Police Department. Is that what was followed in that? So when you go to trial, when you go to court, when you go to disciplinary hearing, when you go to CCRB, and you got your 20 degrees black belt and your MMA, and you've choked people out and done all kinds of crazy things, which, again, the NYPD Police Academy doesn't train you in that. And no, that's not a 2-minute video on your phone. You go to tactics training once a year. And I specifically remember those are gym instructors in there that instruct you on tactics. They say, I don't care what degree black belt you are, you will practice what we teach you here. If you veer off this, if they come after you, you will be held liable and the department will not indemnify you. And we will be at your trial saying, we did not train this officer in this method. I don't know where they trained anyone to strike anyone with a handcuffed suspect. Now, the other one is he's biting at his ankle. That's not what we see. I see that he's tugging at his pant leg. And he seems emotionally disturbed. Now, if they bite you, I've been bitten. I got bit. Handcuff the guy. Go to the hospital. Get checked out. Line of duty, whatever you want to do. But do you strike him because he's handcuffed? Answer is no. The narrow window to striking someone who's handcuffed, it's so slim that they would it's beaten in my head still from training. Do not strike anyone in handcuffs. You know what they would say when he's kicking you? Did you see what it said? Hold the leg. Did you see what that said? That's what the NYPD trains you to do. And you put leg shackles on them. This must have been lost amongst the bloodthirsty MMA crowd they just want to see blood, guts, and gore. And you're, just justifying everything you see. That's right. Samara Cohen said cocktail. That's what you would get. The NYPD, you have people that get water thrown on them, right? And you say, because your emotions say you should go over there and knock the guy out, handcuff him, hit him. But this is a job. You're not supposed to be doing things like that. And it's not in your training. And it will be brought up because when they say, officer, can you show me in your training where it says you can strike somebody who's handcuffed? Is that what I'm looking at your curriculum? They're going to have it in front of them, folks. This is how it works. This is court. This is a legal proceeding. This is a disciplinary proceeding. They're going to say, where is it? Where does it say in the New York City Police Department curriculum, anywhere, tactical training, you can strike a handcuffed suspect? Tell me where. The best part was the end. They actually put a net over his face or his mouth. That's what they do. And if this gets crazier, you would call ESU, and they actually come and when they call it where they bag the guy. And they do it in a way where he looks like a mummy. But they do it without striking anyone either. That's the best part. And I've seen it done right in front of me. So many people are lost. They've lost the plot. Heard that one too. So I've been saying this. I stand on firm legal ground. So now to come on and give his take and the legal opinion on this and more is a former cop as well, is civil rights attorney Eric Sanders.
Yep. How you doing?
Eric?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I saw, you also, they said, I saw what you said. You said they should be arrested.
Exactly.
First cop.
To do. It's not, if anyone who's excuses behavior, you don't belong in the police department in the first place. I have a bite mark right on my thigh from when I was a rookie, and that was a guy that was transporting heroin. So if you think that you're supposed to be giving people punishment, you don't belong in the business. That's what the problem is, right? And remember, on the first page of the document you showed, the 2201, it says a very specific. It has to be in compliance with the requisite law. That's what everyone's missing.
What law is
it? I could tell you, Sal, I've experienced this. Larry Jackson, $15 million verdict. Part of that $15 million verdict was they hit him while he was handcuffed and they maced him while he was handcuffed. You can't do that. There's a very small defined circumstance you can do it. Other than that, that's it. Oh, he was biting his leg. What is he, a fucking alligator? He's biting through your shoes? I mean, come on, Ray. You can't control him? If you can't control him, then there's a problem. There's 4 cops there. And while he's being hit, they're holding his hands up so it exposes his rib cage. How are you going to defend against that? Seriously. And then the other dummies that stand around didn't stop the cop from doing that. And it's so bad. If you look at the civilians in the frame, they're horrified by what they're seeing. Look at them. The lady even tried to stop the guy from hitting them. That's an embarrassment. And for people to try to justify that, something wrong with you. This is why people don't respect cops.
What did I say? I said this would erode the public's trust. And I say
this all the time. I see them doing this shit to those kind of people. I don't see you chasing fucking people with guns doing that. Are you afraid of them? That's right. You're afraid of them.
My other thing.
Don't get me started. This got me so boiling about that because it's wrong. That's not what they teach you to do. They don't teach you to put people on their stomach. You could accidentally kill somebody. And what about the moron that's pushing his head into the cement sidewalk? That's what they teach you to do?
Yeah, apparently so. Apparently so.
You could have fractured this guy's skull. And then if it's an accident, I didn't mean it. Okay, you didn't mean it. So what? There's still legal liability for that.
I know Lone Scientists are the only ones who will defend this are Joe Cops and the fans of them. Yeah, the Joe Cop goes from the locker room to the bar. And the Hairbag Society follows them too. They must have had their little meeting yesterday or the day before.
Oh, Eric, he says he hates cops. No, I love fucking cops. This is why I try to get him to stop doing dumb shit. Because you could say Joe Cop stuff, but guess what? Who's going to be trying to defend these guys? Some lawyer. But it won't be me because I know you're not following the policy. So I won't even represent you. Yeah, that's why it's bad mouth people. He won't represent me. Yeah, because you're not following the policy. No one told you to do that.
This doesn't, not only that, striking the guy and, there's going to be other problems. There's TRI reports, right? There's going to be body camera footage. And I'm going to tell you, someone from Internal Affairs that I may or may not know saw the video, right? Their comment was, we just fired someone 2 weeks ago for being involved in the same sort of incident. You cannot strike anyone in handcuffs. That is coming from the guys who actually do work in Internal Affairs. We're going to get to the head of that agency in a little bit, a little unit. But that's what they said. They have to review these forced cases and if there's charges. And nobody wants to see any cop gets hurt. I don't applaud police officers getting hurt or they're going to go after their vacation time or their pension or whatever. But I don't know where you got it in your head. You know, everybody's getting emotional, and that's your problem.
Yep.
That's how murders take place. Emotions. Your emotions as a police officer in your street, you have to contain them. That's the sad truth. You want to fly. If you do that, that's how they got you.
The policy, the first two lines in the policy says protect life. That's the first thing. Anything absent that is fine. You know I'm passionate about this because someone joked on his high blood. No, I'm passionate about it because a lot of this shit is avoidable. But these guys don't listen.
They're going to get, and I could see this, and the other two cops are supposed to intervene.
Oh, man, if you go back to the policy, Sal says that. You have a duty to intervene. All that is constitutional law, by the way. They don't say it's constitutional law, but that's 1983 standard Supreme Court law. So your thing is just a patrol guy. No, these things are based on laws. Because a lot of this is avoidable, Sal.
People, and my problem is people making value judgments. Oh, he's this, he's that. People saying he has AIDS. Who said that? Where did that come from? That's a lot of us. Same thing as when you looked at me and said he's in a picture with someone. Therefore, you don't know anything. I'm looking at it from what I'm seeing. And from a legal standpoint, you don't have a leg to stand on. You struck a guy in handcuffs. It doesn't matter. By the way, the NYPD, Eric, like I said, they throw water on people. What are you supposed to go do? Handcuff them and beat them? That's what your emotions say. That doesn't make it right. So when you look at the guy and he's in handcuffs and he's tugging, he's biting, let me strike him. That's not what you're training.
Wait. Well, that's expected. What the hell? They didn't teach you at the police academy? Everyone's not going to go voluntarily. That's part of the training. The part of the training is that people are going to resist. Guess what? There's ways to control them. Police officers are supposed to protect life and property, period. And listen, saying, oh, they don't have to respond to this, that's a fucking cop-out. The bottom line is they teach cops to deal with homeless, people who are mentally disturbed, people who may be deaf and they can't hear you, hearing impaired, visual impaired. They teach you about all this stuff. The problem is cops blow the bullshit off. They blow it off. They teach you to protect life and property. Put people in custody. I don't care if that guy did a shooting. You still don't beat the shit out of him while he's handcuffed.
Nope.
Oh, you get to make value judgment because it's a bad person? Well, last time I checked, police officers are not supposed to determine who's good and bad. Violate the law, probable cause, okay, I can arrest you. Who's good and bad? We don't make value judgment. When you start doing that, that's why you go down the road doing this nonsense.
I 100% agree. I'm standing on firm ground on the law. You just heard what's the entire legal, the legal outcome, what's going to happen here, because they're going to get disciplined. It's all building up. All I can tell you is they just fired somebody who did the same thing, struck a guy who's handcuffed. That's exact terminology. The NYPD does not want you doing that. And if you do it, listen, it's such a narrow window. I remember them always saying, even like a patrol supervisor, a sergeant, a lieutenant, it's such a narrow window. They said, I don't care what they do. Do not strike anyone who's in handcuffs. It's over. The cuffs are on. It's over. Anyone saying he's fighting, he's not fighting. He's in control by two other cops. He's not fighting. So that goes out the window. Everything you're saying is out the window. You struck a guy because you made the guy in judgment.
Even when you went through the academy, I went through the academy. I don't remember one circumstance that they gave to say you could strike a handcuffed prisoner. That's how rare that would have to be so unique. I would say that's less than a 1/100% chance of that ever happening. Other than that, they don't want you doing that. They want you to stop the person. They see you using that force, they're expecting you to intervene and stop it.
And not only that, people forget about Joe Cop. And I see one in the comments. Must be a fan of someone else's. When you are answering, you don't answer to fellow Joe Coppers. It's the public.
No.
The public.
Right.
You think the public likes what they see? Let's be honest.
Go back to the video, Sal. Did you see the people standing around? They look like horrified. They're like, what are these people doing? You could see the guy has some kind of mental distress. His feet is dirty and all. He must be out in the street. I don't know much about it, but the people are looking horrified. Even a lady, there's a middle-aged lady, try to stop the cop. You didn't see that? Come on, man. And you think that, come on. Listen, I've been around a long time. People say these things about me. I have let me see how long I've been around now. 38 freaking years connected to law enforcement. I've seen this coming backward and forward. People can talk all the nonsense you want. You're not to be the one that's going to be facing this shit. These people are. The bottom line is you could do the Joe Cop and all the answer a kid. This is the way it goes. Ask how many people lose their jobs, because every week people lose their jobs from the NYPD every freaking week. They do I call it the termination walk. They probably still do it at 315 Hudson Street. They go there, terminated. Oh, they don't tell you about that part, right?
Very unfortunate. And it's not cheering things on. This is the kind of stuff you need to weed. You got to root this out, weed this out. You should not be doing this. It's not in your training. I know your emotions you can't let the emotions get the better of you. And all three of those guys are in trouble. That's just the bottom line. But we talked about the public. So I'm gonna have my producer, co-host, the wingman, who is part of public, Jack Stern. Jack, what do you take on that? You're a civilian.
Well, before I proceed forward, let me just tell all our audience members it's okay to disagree. And on this one, I do vehemently disagree with both Eric and Sal. But the reason that I disagree is because Eric mentioned being bitten by someone and still having the bite mark and how he didn't use the force. And I'm actually on the sides of the cops on this one, because why should you have to be abused by people on the street? If someone is posing a threat to you, you should be able to use force to prevent and mitigate that. That's where I stand. And listen, I've never been a cop. I never went on the street. I never did the job. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm someone that I never was. But at the same time, just looking at the patrol guide and seeing point D here, use any level of force on handcuffed or otherwise restrained subjects unless necessary to prevent injury, escape, or to overcome active physical resistance or assault. I do believe that when the EDP had his teeth around the officer's clothing, I do believe that fell into that category. And I do believe that if there had been some movement, that biting of his pant leg would have turned into biting of his actual leg. So I'm actually one who leans on the side of caution here and is very much so defending the cops.
Well, I just say, Jack, so then he couldn't have just moved his leg, since the centrifugal force of your leg is a lot stronger than somebody pulling at your pant leg. That doesn't...
Listen, I think it's hard because they teach you so much in the academy, but when you get out into the real world, there's a lot of things that you encounter which we're not taught to at all, right? So this situation,
yeah, I know you're saying that sounds good, but part of an inherent risk in police work is you're going to get assaulted and you may even get killed. If you go in there on an illusion that somehow this is not the inherent risk of the job, you're in the wrong business again. You're expected to get hurt and to get killed. It's possibility, and it's high, depending on the area you're working in. The bottom line is that doesn't then excuse you for your fear, because if you have a fear of getting hurt, you shouldn't be in the police business.
No, I agree. I agree with you. And then when people go out and complain,
a person's not escaping on their stomach. There's never been escape in the New York City Police Department with someone on his stomach. You know what escape has been? When they're handcuffed and you're not sitting there behind them and they're putting the legs and they put it from under their legs, or you don't search them. They take a gun out their waistband because you don't do a search like you're supposed to, and they shoot you in the back of the head. That's happened too. I have yet to hear a scenario in 38 years where someone was on their stomach and was able to escape, 5 cops around them.
Oh, it's not about escapability. It's about the threat of bodily injury. And
but that's not going to fly in the department, because that's not force that you could use, physical force to punch someone.
Listen, and also the bigger issue at hand too that we're not talking about at all is that the city is allowing homeless people to just sit out on the street, and now we're having the cops go and babysit them. If we had been better about creating homeless shelters or environments where these people actually felt comfortable, they wouldn't be sitting on the street and using drugs. But at the same time, I do agree with you, Eric. This is not a volunteer job. You guys didn't sign up for this for free. You didn't get drafted into the army. If you don't like some of the components related to policing, or if you don't like the fact that you're being dispatched to go take these people off the street, join another department in a red state where they don't have homeless people on the street, or go do something else professionally. No, it's the truth. If you are going to be a police officer in New York City, you're going to encounter these types of scenarios and expect to as well, especially if you're put in transit or housing where there's going to be a lot of EDPs. It's the unfortunate reality of doing this job, but it is something that people need to expect, because I'm tired of the union heads. We didn't sign up to be a babysitter. We didn't sign up for this. We didn't sign up for cashless bail or the other things that Pat Hendry likes to complain about. I agree with them that all of those things are messed up. But the last time I checked, Eric, you guys are staying in the tri-state area and you're staying with the NYPD. So as long as that's going on, you can't expect things to change. It's like going and playing for the Colorado Rockies as a baseball player and saying, I want them to spend a lot of money. No, you're playing for the Rockies, not the Yankees, not the Red Sox, not the Mets, not the Dodgers. You need to temper and set expectations based on the agency you're working for. And I want to make that point clear too.
Of course, because police officers are supposed to be apolitical in the first place. If you're getting caught up in red and blue, you're in the wrong business again, because everyone is supposed to be treated the same way, irrespective of your politics. Even if the person's homeless, or the person is a EDP, or the person's having a temporary emotional distress because they're part of a domestic incident that happened. All those things they teach you about. And Sal can tell you, they teach you this stuff. It's not like they don't teach you. They do teach you.
That's what I'm trying to say. That is just not going to fly. It might be some bloodthirsty people out there that maybe, I don't know, you should be watching. I like WWE, even though it's choreographed. You can watch the UFC, but that's not the reality. It's not the reality.
So Eric, I mean, let me ask you this. If you were in the scenario again where the person who was trafficking heroin bit your leg, was there anything you would do differently to try and prevent that? Or are you just saying, okay, I'm going to go home with bite marks on my leg for the rest of my life?
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you what cops won't tell you. I made a tactical error of him. See, they won't tell you that.
No, it's good to hear. It's in making an evaluation here. That's why I asked these questions.
Because I could avoid. I didn't get bitten because out in the field. I cuffed him. That wasn't a problem. You know where I got bitten? Inside the ambulance, he bit my leg. You know why? Because I sat right next to him. Tactical error. See, but that's what the police officers won't tell you about. So I prepared for everything else. The call out in the street was fine. It's sitting next to him in the bus. That's where he bit me on the thigh.
Without Monday morning quarterbacking here too, with this case, I do believe they made a tactical error because they kept the guy lying face down on the ground for too long. And you can see after the fact, they put something over his head. If he's screaming and there's spit flying out of his mouth, that should have happened earlier.
Showing you that memorandum, the police department itself says you do not have anyone lay down. So you're guilty, but you start off being guilty. Understand? You're guilty from the beginning. There is no worried about, punching the guy, whatever it is. It's all after effect. What's the first issue? You're holding a guy handcuffed on the ground. I mean, this is happened to Eric Garner on his stomach. You have to lift him up. That's what they teach you this. And that's in the memorandum.
I believe they try and do that here too, right? They
want to hear, but they didn't.
Look right there. Look, you got two people. He's on his knees, right? He's got his body weight on his knees. First of all, they don't teach you to do that either. This is not fucking cops. They don't teach you to do that in New York, okay? So the other guy is they got his knees held down, right? With their knees. And then the other guy is giving him body shots when they expose his rib cage. Is that what they teach you to do?
Well, this is the opening sequence, right? And if you want to make the argument they have to have him stood up sooner, I can totally agree with that. If not just for tactical advantage, also because look at everyone's walking by and looking at the situation.
And why is that? Here's the other thing. That cop, why is he standing over his head?
Listen, that's up to you
I'm
guys.
just telling you that you have a lot of this, the tactical. They don't teach you this.
No.
Those two cops have him handcuffed. So the next step would be
get him up.
Get him off the street so we don't even get to a point where he's gnawing.
And I do agree. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, going to the tactical areas, the police responded to this kind of stuff because they got homeless people everywhere, and it looks like the city itself, the mayor.
No, that's a cop out because we're taking the responsibility off them. They teach you to respond to a million different scenarios. A plane crash. So we don't see a plane crash, so therefore you don't know how to respond to it. They teach you to save people. You don't need to have every scenario to use basic common sense. They treat you. You don't, come on. See, that's a cop out. So, okay, if it wasn't homeless, what happened with someone who wasn't homeless and now they have a visual impairment? Does that excuse that too? Come on. See, this is no cop outs. No.
Listen,
matter of fact, and I can tell you something, Jack, and Sal will back it up. EDPs is one of the most high volume jobs in the New York City Police Department. EDPs and domestic violence. Those are probably the two most high volume jobs they handle throughout the year for at least 70 or 80 years.
EDPs are prone to violence too. So you have to, when you're showing up to the scene where an EDP is involved, you have to assume that there's going to be violence.
I'd say this.
And that's trained for too.
A lot of times you respond to EDP or even a domestic. Usually, I mean, every now and then you get an out of control thing, but normally cops are able to speak them out of whatever it is, or almost talk them into, you know, if they got to get handcuffed, wherever it is. That's usually, and that's why you come in and there's 10 of you maybe or whatever, if it gets that way. But sometimes two cops normally are able to just talk to someone and convince them into doing whatever it is they need, or whether they got to leave the apartment or they got to go to the hospital. We did it so many times. It almost like now it's all coming back to me. But this scenario, it's different because he's handcuffed. I'm going off of he's already handcuffed. And the tactics are horrible. And you're not following what they trained you to do. You're also not following what that part with the whole prone asphyxiation, you're guilty from the beginning. That's you're going to run into that before going over these patrol guide procedure things.
But look what happens. As they're trying to lift him up, the guy's giving him body shots to the left side of his body. I mean, are you serious, man? How's that guy a threat? You got his hands up. Okay, let me take your arms and put them up over your head and see if you can move, right? Because that's what they're doing. They're lifting him up on his arm, and the guy comes along and starts giving him body shots to the left side of his body. Oh, yeah, he's a threat. That's what they teach you to do? Come on.
Well, he's being perceived as a threat because if he moves his body a little bit, again, as I mentioned at the beginning, and he's biting the front leg, then he
can't hurt you that way. Come on. You see, the public thinks that. They're going to tell you in the police department you're training. No, that's not going to fly. It's just not going to fly. A judge is not going to fly. I can tell you that right now. They said, what are you, out of your mind? You're telling me that guy he could break the grasp of these two guys, so you give him body shots to the left side of his ribcage.
He's not gonna kill you. He doesn't have a knife. He doesn't have a gun, but he does pose the threat of bodily injury. That's just kind of where I stand. And listen, nothing about this video or this situation is ideal, and it doesn't look pretty. But when you're reacting in real time, I can understand why you reacted. If I'm the CCRB or someone in City Hall who's independently evaluating all of this, and I think that's an appropriate role for me to play, given that I was never a cop. The way I present my final analysis is there's a lot that could have been done differently, but I'm also not going to hold it against you that you behaved the way you did. I'm not taking away vacation days. I'm not disciplining anyone, but I do maybe issue retraining for that officer in terms of how to handle.
You will when they sue you. When they start suing you, and then
that's right.
That's when they change. Everyone changes their tunes immediately. So I'm just telling you the legality of it. I know a lot of people are going to but you're going to find out that in a courtroom, the major things they're going to say is, where is your training? Does your training tell you to do this? No, it doesn't. Is there anything anywhere you could point to that says this is justified? Well, you had the guy in a prone asphyxiated position. That's a problem. And all I'm saying is, just guys, follow your training. That's it. This video, had I not put it out, I don't know. It was already 300,000 likes. It had a ridiculous amount of views on TikTok. So I don't know. And it was out in like a couple hours prior to me, even someone sent it to me on TikTok. So that's all I can tell you. I don't think it was ever supposed to get this crazy. But since These soap operas, these people,
Because think about it, Sal, I mean, and Jack. You know why? Because people are very sensitive to the government abusing people. That's why people pay attention to this. And some people may feel like, oh, we love the government, it's not a problem. But the bottom line is, oh yeah, see, that's good. Ramirez put up 2% of EDPs were violent. So that goes to spell the whole thing. They train you for this. And that's what they're going to go by. They're not going to go by feelings. They're not going to go by, we feel bad because the police officer has a tough job. You know what they're going to say? If you can't hack the job, find another way to live.
Agreed. I totally agree. And I'm sick and tired of a lot of people politicizing the situation and saying we need better conditions. Eric, how many jobs are getting pay raises right now? Yeah.
You want to see this? Matt O'Brien. I love Matt. He says he gave the buy shops to stop the buy, and EDP did stop responding to the shots. What does the patrol guy say? You can't use pain for compliance.
There you go. See, that's why you follow the policy and don't follow locker room stuff, because it's BS. It's not going to save you. It worked in the 70s. It worked in the 60s. Not today.
Well, it worked then because there was no social media and nobody had cameras. Technology was not evolved. Eric, when you were policing and people got in an argument, they probably just shot one another because they were angry. Nowadays, there's 3 different cameras all over the place. People are a little bit more hesitant and calculated, right? So, I mean, it's a totally different era, and it's very difficult as such to compare the 70s with present day. Most of the people who policed in the 70s probably couldn't cut it nowadays, not just because of the cameras, but also because of the changes to the regulations. It was a different era, totally different era.
Yeah.
It's a wild, wild west back
then. Look, like I said, I didn't think this was going to have the legs that it's gotten. And everyone should be friends after this. If you have a disagreement, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of, but there's other people, and the comments, and it's crazy. It's even crazier than some in this comment section now. Some of the rhetoric out of and they're not from New York either. I saw it online. They were like, this is literally like, I don't know if they were a cop or not. I don't know if they're even law enforcement, but the thrill they get to watch somebody handcuffed, get beaten up, and they want to see more. And that is a scary thought. And that's something that really, that's a societal issue. That's my final take on that. Again, I hope for the best, but by the book, by law, by the legality of it, this is not bode well for the police.
And the other part that we didn't even talk about, I'm going to throw it in since I'm going to throw the legal part in. Just remember, the Supreme Court just came down with that Barnes case and says, we're not looking at the totality of circumstances. We're looking at, did the police start the physical confrontation? Because if they started, you can't then turn around and use it and say, I'm justified. So those days are over, man. You know, this, he was hurting me. No, now they're going to look at, did you precipitate the violence? Okay, guess what? You're going to be responsible for it now. Those days are over. This is not, we feel sorry for the police. I'm not saying police are supposed to get assaulted, but to say there's not an inherent risk in the job, you're being naive. It's part of the business.
And the job is a lot more violent and risky today than it probably was 5 years ago. I'm not going to say it was more risky than it was when you were on the streets, Eric, because I would think that's a factual inaccuracy. But it's not an overstatement to say that cops are under scrutiny for a lot of different reasons in New York City. The judicial system has skewed a lot more liberal, especially recently. And as such, you're going to be scrutinized in an era where technology has advanced and everything is now on camera. Yeah, it's the truth. But I mean, no one likes seeing an EDP getting, handcuffed on the street. It's a horrible outcome, no matter how you twist it. And you just hope that there's better solutions and better remedies, because you've attested to this in the past on social media, Eric. It feels like this is a cycle. Someone comes from a broken, poor home. They don't know what to do with themselves. They start using drugs. They go down a poor path. And the next thing you know, they're tweaked out on the street and their life is not going in a positive direction. So I just hope there's more positive changes created in the system, so we don't have to sit here and argue about whether this was right or wrong, because it's frankly a sad discussion to have.
Politically, though, but this is going to be a problem, because they can take this and say, see, this is why we want the police to respond, because look how they respond. The guy's in crisis. Right, by the way, I don't think we know whether or not he was arrested or he was sent to the hospital. We don't know anything about it.
No one has any idea, yeah.
See, that's still an open question then.
And the Mamdani supporters are going to watch this video and say, well, this is why we need social workers dispatched to 911 calls, because of scenarios like this. what if the guy has a knife or a gun? Like,
Right.
there's so many variables at play here
Yeah.
that you can't fit it into every other scenario that bears resemblance to it. It's
Exactly.
almost like we try and fit a square peg in a round hole for everything. This is
Right.
not a one-size-fits-all phenomenon.
No, of course
It's
not.
it's very important to note that, because there's
Yeah.
too many
Oh, yeah.
stark generalizations made
Mhm.
when policies are written about these sorts of
Yes.
things. And there's anecdotal evidence which proves it too.
Yeah.
So listen,
agree.
I think you heard the joke cop angle, you heard the civilian angle, and then you heard the legal angle. And in the end, I don't know what to say.
It's a good way to describe it.
You want to listen. There's going to be 12 jurors. Somebody asked me this question. I can't be a juror on this case, so I don't know why you keep saying. As a
What?
former cop, they don't take you in juries. I was just in jury duty about a year ago. They don't take former cops, so I don't have to be a juror in this case. So you're not going to.
And apparently they don't like a lot of normal people off the street who have other things to do in their lives. Every time I've told them, oh, I had a doctor appointment, I had this conflict of interest, they roll their eyes and get mad at me. So it's like, how do you expect me to objectively sit on a jury when you like chastise me for having other things going on in my life? And every time I've been to jury duty, they've like way overbit the amount of people they were in. Like I once went into an auditorium where there were like thousands of people. One guy was playing a scratch-off ticket in the back while eating his breakfast. It was really an interesting cast of characters. But the bottom line is, I mean, it's a weird process for selecting the juries too.
Yeah, listen, I was there. They just don't. They don't tell you why, but then when you leave, they always, when you speak to someone there, they go, no police officer.
Most of the time get knocked off. I've been knocked off, both as a lawyer and as a cop.
You get knocked off. It just, I don't know why.
Most of the time you do. I mean, it theoretically could keep you, but most of them don't want you.
TC is saying it's in New York. I guess in New York, he was a juror in New York. I guess New York City did that, like the city.
It's rare. Trust me, it's rare.
That they snuck that one through. If I was, I don't know if you're male or female, I would have been kicking and screaming, going, how come everyone else gets off? You're picking on me, huh?
Well, one more final question before we put a bow tie on this one and wrap it up. If they're interviewing people for jury duty for a case like this, what would be some causes for elimination for members of the jury? If someone said, for example, I had a family member who was experiencing homelessness recently, would that instantly eliminate them? Or what would you do if you're selecting jury members, Eric? How would you?
Yeah, that's a factor. I mean, that's a factor. Remember, voir dire, one of the concept behind voir dire, they tell you, oh, we can get fair jurors. That's BS. The concept is to try to get the people that are likely going to vote in your favor once you present your case. So these are all the bias factors you look for. If they have members of their families that are cops, have they ever been assaulted by a homeless person? I mean, all these different things. So there's a lot of questions. But the idea is to try to get someone who's going to favor your ultimate, side of the case.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just wanted to bring that up because when
everybody has a different opinion. No, but again, I just stand on the law. I know that's the problem. We could all say, "Oh, I want to see more of this. It's great. You got to defend yourself." Remember the 3 questions they're going to ask you in the courtroom: where was your training?
Yeah.
Find me where it says this is legal, and then they're going to say, "What were the circumstances of why you would do this?" You got to explain yourself, and that's not going to bode well in either disciplinary or.
And the other factor we didn't talk about, guys, is we're not even seeing the body worn camera. This is going to give us a whole nother perspectives on this. So
yeah, I was telling you from the whole part of the video was I got it. It was all over social media. It was viral, and it was on TikTok. And the bottom line, what I was saying is that striking someone in handcuffs. I was always taught, don't even think about it. Don't even think. They don't care. The oldest old timer who's not a hairbag or a Joe cop would say, you don't strike anyone in handcuffs. I don't want to hear it. You will get, I don't want to hear it. You do it, I'm going to handle you personally. Because that could be him, sergeant, lieutenant, taking a huge hit for letting you do that, which that patrol guy procedure states, supervisor, it says that also on scene. So these are other, things left and right. I mean, this could go on forever. I think we hit it enough. I try to hit as much as I can with the all angles, legal included. So, but there's another video that came out. I think this one, is far worse than what you just saw. As bad as it is. So just put this on the screen, Jack. This is you guys got to watch.
All the money you have.
This is a disaster. You can see it.
This, yeah.
Look at these people. Look
You
at
see
these.
that?
He took the gun right off the fucking guy. Come on, man. Are you serious, man?
And it's weird. Even as a civilian, someone who understands governmental bureaucracy more than on-street policing, look at the officer to his left too, kind of not even really paying attention to nonchalantly.
I'm glad you picked up on that. I'm like, what is she doing?
She doesn't even watch this sequence. She's sitting here filling out paperwork. He pulls out the gun. She kind of glances at it and then just goes about doing what she was doing normally. Looks down, presumably at her phone or her gun belt or whatever it may be. I mean, come on. How do you look at the and mind you, firearms are illegal in New York City too. You just recovered an illegal firearm. It's not a Second Amendment state. And you're just standing there like it's nothing.
It has a scope on it too. Did you notice?
Yeah. All right, let's watch the end of this.
And the magazine is still seated. If you notice.
And here she's just like scrolling through her phone. So this is what she was doing. She sees the gun here. Oh, yeah, there's a firearm. Then she goes down, picks up her phone, and now she's like scrolling through her text or Snapchat like it's nothing. And she's continuing to do it while the officer is patting down the perp.
Oh, and by the way, he's not secured, by the way. He's not secured. And I mean, the magazine was still seated in the weapon. What the fuck is going on here? They both should have been suspended for that.
I got chills down my spine when I first saw this. I had to watch this about, I don't know, 10. I didn't believe it. I thought it was AI. It's not AI. It actually happened. Okay. And first of all, there's more details to this. I don't know exactly what precinct this is, but I could tell you, and you could put up on the screen too, Jack. The sergeant, this body camera footage, a sergeant reviewed, and I'm going to show you what they did to this sergeant because they just modified this actual sergeant. I believe, I don't know if he's on the desk, but that tax number is on this video, which, by the way, forget about me. I think everybody in New York City and maybe all over the world had this video. I just happened to get it in its infancy, and I just said this can't be right. I
just looked up the sergeant who was modified, and he's in the 25th precinct where he's been since November of 2025, which for those of you who don't know is located in East Harlem. So that's kind of the geography in the area that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
But do you understand? I was taught a couple of things. Even if I'm going to give you, I don't know the exact scenario, but let's say this person was in a big crowd of people. There's a big melee going on, and you take him and put him in the car and you go, right? You're supposed to, I mean, it's like they don't, this is what we did. We would stop the car about 2-3 blocks down and then get out and then do a proper search on the guy because there's been unfortunate incidents, and a lot of people now are starting to hit me up where, hey, in the 80s, I was working. 2 detectives had a shootout. Guy nobody knew he had a gun in his pants, and he's able to, handcuffed in the rear, still get to it. It's been a lot of instances of this stuff happening where, okay, so I haven't seen it in my time. I didn't see it, but all of a sudden you see a video like this, and it's scary to think that guy was in the car with that gun right in the front. All he had to do, and he's very, it's very nimble. He could just pull that out. I mean, you're driving. I mean, the scenario is wild to think that. I don't know how those cops aren't in trouble and why the sergeant, who I tried to block but it didn't matter. I mean, they already had this guy's number when this went viral everywhere. They're going after the actual sergeant who's showing you this versus the 2 cops who should be, I mean, they need to be.
Oh, no, it's no fuck retrain. They should be suspended because the suspension is going to wake their asses up because you could have been dead. They took the firearm right off the guy, which tells me they didn't toss him out in the field. Because how did you get in your car with a gun? Maybe they put the gun back in. Is that the scenario? They put the gun, they took it from him and put it back in. You see how crazy that sounds?
Also, if this guy is carrying around a gun, then he clearly has some sort of intention to either use it or protect himself if he perceives someone to be a threat, right? So the fact that you have 2 people standing around while someone that you're arresting has a gun that is very readily accessible to him if he's able to get out of the handcuffs and beat up the one officer who's standing next to him because this female is on her phone right here. Then all of a sudden he has
on 2 phones.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Then all of a sudden the individual you arrested who has that firearm and thought to put it on him has access to it again. It's the same dilemma as when you're arresting an EDP, Eric. When you arrest an EDP and you find that they have a knife or a gun on them, you handcuff them because they could pose a threat not only to other people, but to themselves, right? This individual, I don't know what he's being arrested for. I'm not going to speculate on that, but he's being arrested for something and he has a gun on him. So that means he's a violent individual, which means that if he gets out of custody somehow, he's going to think about using it. You can't stand there you got to get him the fuck away from the desk or you got to move the gun.
Sal can tell you, they failed at the moment they fucking had handcuffs on because you're supposed to toss a person. And if you toss them and search them, you're supposed to take the gun and you're supposed to make it safe before you even transport them anywhere. They failed on all fronts. Who knows if the patrol supervisor is there? If the patrol supervisor is there or wasn't there, they got a problem too with the platoon commander. Because how the hell did this happen? And then they brought in a live gun. I don't know if the magazine, they didn't take it out, but it was still seated.
I guess
forget about it.
They teach you. Another thing they teach you, especially if you were in a police academy, not a police academy, you were in the range. Mm-hmm. They would absolutely take your gun from you. If a loaded gun, you leave it pointed at anywhere. That gun is on the desk, and at the far end of the desk usually are other cops or other cops.
The TS, that's right.
You do not. This is like one of the first things they tell you. Don't ever bring a guy with a live firearm in this station house. You better search the guy, and you better not point a live gun at anyone ever.
And you know, Sal, you're right. Because I was thinking about it from the perspective of the desk officer looking out, and you saw the other cop coming in. That's probably the front side of the precinct. So you're right. There's a TS probably right next to them, and either assistant desk officer or a civilian. That could have been a disaster, man. Come on. There's no excuse.
We search prisoners for a reason. You know, we were doing the worst case scenario when you have to get a guy out, like I said, in a melee, go down the block. Okay. Stop the car and search them because I was taught in the very beginning in the 71st precinct, you cannot absolutely bring a guy in the station house not searched or has a firearm on him. You are going to get destroyed. And if they find that in the cell, which also happened once, a guy had drugs in the cell, but if they find a firearm in the cell or on him in the cells, forget about it.
Okay, Sal. Okay, so let's tell the truth now. See, they can't Sal as, he's beating people up. No, he's very delicate in what he just said. What scenario have you ever seen where you had to take a guy, just grab him, put a handcuff, and take him out of the scene so fast that you didn't have a chance to search him? Has that ever happened to you? No. And I've taken guns from people, Tech 9s, Mac 10 machine guns, Calico 100s. I've done it all, 45. And guess what? I had time to search him and make it secure and take the gun from him.
Always. You have to always search.
So, I mean, come on. So that's some BS. Those cops should be suspended because you know what they just showed you? They are risk to the public and to their own partners.
Yeah,
lackadaisical. You see that talk about tactics? There it is again.
The other problem with this too, with the gun, it really hit me because I'm remembering all that training, all that time, especially in the 7-1, we were all rookies and hearing this over and over again with no guns. You're supposed to always search them in the field. But there's another scenario where someone said, maybe this is someone else saying, here, hand the guy off, take him to the station house. You still search him. There's there isn't.
Oh, wait. Search him outside the car. Search him before you put him in the car. Search him when you get out of the car. Search the back seat of the car. Search him when you walk into the station house. How many times you search that person before they're in the cell? They're full of shit. They should be suspended.
And the next time, the consequences might be a lot more severe when something like this happens again. Right? Because
oh my God, I can't believe they're heroes. No, they fucked up. See, nobody wants to say that publicly, but it's the truth. And there's a scenario what we're talking about. But the sad part about it, that's not the first time. When I was a rookie, I saw, I'm not even going to say the cop's name. She picked the gun up and gave the gun back to the guy. And they had to chase him in the 109. That's a real scenario.
And he could have easily gone and shot someone, shot the cops involved, and it would have resulted in a fatality.
I won't even say the cop's name, but I know exactly who did it. He had to chase him and collar him with a loaded gun. This is people you have in the police department now. This is why I'm so critical. These people are dangerous.
Yeah,
and again, I want to emphasize, because New York is not a Second Amendment state, guns are that much more dangerous on the street because no one has method of protecting themselves, right? They can't just go out and buy a gun for self-protection. So one person has a gun, the other, unless they obtained it illegally, doesn't. Street because
I listen. I'm going to say this.
That's scary.
And I'm going to in closing with this part. I emphasize everybody out there. If you're working, you're a police officer. I don't care what the scenario is. You search that suspect, prisoner, whoever it is, EDP, whatever it is. You better search this guy thoroughly. If it's a female, get the female officer. Searches it. You cannot have a scenario like that.
I disagree. If there's a female officer, they can search. If you're a male officer, search that female, because guess what? They like to hide guns in their crotch. Don't be afraid to search it because you're male, because it's gender neutral, baby. Crime is gender neutral. Don't ever get caught up in it has to be a female officer. Fuck that. Toss her ass, because it's happened before. They give the guns to the women because they know you won't search them. Don't ever be afraid to search women. Their bags, their crotch, everything. Let them make a goddamn complaint. Who fucking cares? You're out there to keep yourself alive, keep your partners alive, and keep the public safe. You're not there to worry about, ooh, he touched me. So what? Toss their ass. You heard it straight from a lawyer, and I'll defend you on that one.
Well, I got one that probably can't get defended now. Everybody heard this, we report exclusively about the DWI sergeant. There was a crash in the Taconic Parkway and all that. Today would have been the department trial starting for now former Sergeant Tiffany Howell, who was charged with DWI and vehicular homicide. Right there, she happened to resign 2 days ago. So now there won't be a department trial. So there you have it with that one. That was fresh off the NYPD, I guess, bulletin, right? But that department trial would have started today. But ultimately, after everything that happened, and still, as bad as what she did is wrong. Everyone involved trying to cover that up is far worse. It's on the level, if not far worse, because trying to commit a crime and then trying to cover up the crime and get, and there's all kinds of special treatment going on there, and it involves the state troopers. There's more to come with that. This is just a formality of all the other circumstances, whether they're going to keep a job or pension, all this other stuff. I don't know if you want to touch up on that, Eric, but I just figured I'd put that out there. That came off the presses yesterday.
What's unfortunate is that, see what I talk about? A lot of times where people say, oh, no, I'm passionate about this stuff. You know why? Because a lot of stuff is avoidable. It's avoidable. That scenario may have been avoidable if you simply take an Uber. Take an Uber.
Or had a designated driver, or had a family member pick you up. Any number of things, Eric, could have solved this issue.
Of course. But my thing is, try to be fit for duty. I think I put up a post about this, and you got to look out for yourself and others, because people are not necessarily going to look out for you. And the reason why I put that up, because a sergeant was off duty and got his nose broken and his eye socket fractured from hanging out in some spot. My point is that you do yourself and your family a disservice when you don't protect yourself, your person, and your finances with your job. You do yourself a disservice. And then everyone can tell you all day long, oh, don't worry about it, kid's going to be all right. But you're the one that's going to have to walk the path. And now she's got to walk this path that if everything goes the way it sounds, she's going to wind up doing a substantial amount of time in jail. And for what? She's got children. She's got a husband. She has people that care about her. And of course, the person who died had people care about him. All this was avoidable.
He was in his 60s on the brink of retirement, that gentleman.
Yeah. He wanted to be a police officer, right? From what I read. I mean, it's avoidable. Why do this to yourself and your family? I don't understand.
And this is an all too familiar tale with the NYPD. They've tried to curb it, sort of, just like they've tried to curb other things, putting Band-Aids on broken bones in the past. You remember, Eric, that the DEA union now has an agreement with Uber. But let's be honest, that's hardly sufficient when it comes to preventing drinking and driving, because it's so deeply ingrained in the department now that people are saying, oh, I go out, I have a couple drinks, it's no big issue, I'll get home. Or I go out, oh, I'm with other cops, it's no problem, like we have protection, everything's okay. But in the event of a tragedy, and I define a tragedy as driving the wrong way on the Taconic, but also, Eric, pulling around your block and accidentally hitting a little kid who's going around on a bike because you're drunk and you lack self-awareness about what's going on and you don't notice the individual. Like, you are a liability to yourself and everyone around you when you consume alcohol and then get behind the wheel. So it's the wrong decision. And also, I mean, this is just an all too familiar tale with people within the chief of department's office thinking that they're flying on a level above everyone else. Tiffany Howell definitely had a level of invincibility because she worked for Michael LaPetri. And if you're Michael LaPetri, you can't be promoting this type of behavior. By not issuing a statement about what happened and not condemning drinking and driving, you're almost inviting the possibility that it's going to happen again.
Because you keep excusing the behavior. And I keep saying, don't excuse this sort of behavior. This is the problem. Cops don't get terminated because they're stealing money, shaking people down. It's the same thing. Alcohol, personal relationships. Alcohol, persuasion, those are the two most significant things people get terminated for.
Yep, that's the facts. And
we don't help people when we don't call them out on what they're doing. It's like, you know, you're drinking too much. But I've had this opinion for a long time that this is also inherent in law enforcement, that there's such an alcohol problem that's prevalent throughout all these agencies. It's not unique to New York. But it gets to a point where the stress overtakes, then you might have to retire people. You don't want to hear it, but it's the truth.
Yeah, no, you bring up a good point. Even just this morning, Eric, I was walking down the street and there were two cops loudly on duty talking about a tequila tasting event that they were going to. So, listen, I mean, it's almost like the glorification of using alcohol to unwind and get away from whatever you're dealing with as a police officer. So there needs to be more mental health counseling. There needs to be more of an initiative to try and prevent this. It's okay if you want to have a beer at home with your family and you're not driving anywhere, but this idea that you can go out to a party, drink as much as you want, drive wherever you want, it's not going to fly anymore.
Hey, and you're in 1980 asked this question. I think, Eric, you can answer.
Okay. Yeah. What happens is if she resigns means that she doesn't get a pension. The only thing she'll get back is her contributions to the pension system. That's it. She gets nothing.
Yep. There's your answer. Pension is gone. Yeah. That's so unfortunate because it's once again, just like the first incident, the first video, everyone has their panties in a bunch over. The second video, this thing, all three were easily avoidable. You just have to follow any training. Just know. I mean, another thing too is if you're at a party and doesn't everyone look around and go, hey, maybe we should call them an Uber or we could drive them. We didn't drink. None of that ever. It's amazing. And listen, coming from a guy who arrested, I lost count of how many guys I arrested for DWI. The number one thing I would always see is they had people in the car and they were all sober. And all it took was the person that's in the car to say, I'll drive, or they could drive. Do they have a license? Yeah. So why is the drunk person driving? I don't know. This is like a phenomenon in society.
Since we talk about overconsumption of alcohol in the police department, is another dirty little secret they don't like anyone to talk about. But hey, if you're going to clean up the culture, you got to talk about it. The other part is, remember, I came on your show and said they shouldn't be serving alcohol at any of these events, right? That's my opinion. But more importantly, you know what they don't like to talk about? As quiet as kept, sexual assaults.
Oh, yeah.
That's another problem in the department.
We're about to get to that.
In final analysis, though, as it pertains to Howell, in her case specifically, look at the number of people who were impacted by one individual's horrible decision.
Oh, God.
One man who was killed in his 60s, who was getting ready to retire and enjoy life with his family, his family members. Tiffany Howell, her family, her two kids are going to be growing up without a mother for many years in all likelihood because their mom was irresponsible, decided to get in a car while she was drunk and killed someone. Her pension, which by my estimation would be about $70,000 a year. She made a little bit less money as a sergeant, especially with the lower overtime rate. So, I mean, they're not going to have financial support either. If she had just called an Uber, none of this would have happened. And listen, $150 or whatever it is for an Uber might sound like a lot, but think about the cost of the legal fees. Think about the cost of your life. That is a small time investment in the grand scheme of things. If you're going to go out and have one beer, call an Uber. Make it easy for yourself. And you know what? Don't go out for a couple more weeks to try and pay for it, because it's calling an Uber is the only decision you can make here.
People not understanding how this is going to financially drain her. They're going to have the legal fees alone that's going to kill them. They may have to get rid of their house. The wrongful death lawsuit. They're going to be financially ruined. And the marriage, forget about that. Forget about it. It's probably going to be broken then. How about she's going to jail, and then he's going to be left with the financial pieces and ruins of it.
We'd like to know who was calling who. I think from Hansy's office, or maybe him himself, who was making the phone calls to try to avoid how this individual could skip the very exact procedure and the method of applying all this stuff to other people that have had the same. There's been people in a fender bender. Oh, it's an accident. You can smell alcohol. I got to arrest you. I know you're off-duty cop, but this one, they went to far reaches, far lengths to try to avoid this one. Why and who? That's the big question there, because they don't do that for the average cop. They don't do that for the average. What could be any kind of scenario. They were drunk or maybe a little tipsy. I don't know. They're really not drunk. They blow an 05 or whatever. All kinds of stuff that's been crazy that's happened in the past. And you need to treat people equally. So that didn't happen here. There's clearly a double standard, and it's, I don't know. We're going to find out.
I could say this from representing people in the police department about this very problem. And this is my little anecdotal evidence. I mean, there's no longitudinal studies. So, I mean, I'm just kind of thinking out loud. The people who get caught is not the first time that they've been driving this way. And sometimes they're arrested 2 and 3 times, but sometimes it becomes leaving the scene, fail to yield. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff to happen. But the point is, you do a disservice when you don't bring down the gauntlet on the person from the very beginning, because they just continue their behavior until eventually destroy themselves.
Yeah. So I gotta let me go on to this. So I'm gonna go to the if you guys want, if you could join the Italian-American Civil Rights League, you go to iacrl.org. Go to iacrl.org. You join the league. We just had a big dinner down here, and we honored Roger Stone in South Florida. There's also the New Jersey chapter. IACRL, you can sign up and you could do join our cause. Will be more events coming. Everything will be on there, and you could join something that, you know. There's also issues with the Italian American discrimination around the country, like trying to rip down statues and stuff. So we're all on that, and we have our own lawyers and stuff. So IACRL.org. Also, you go to salgreco.com, right? You go in there. You could, I'm going to explain why you should be supporting us, but you're going to hear about it towards the very end of everything. Go to salgreco.com. You want to support us, you can help us out. That'll help me go a long way, since now I think we're going to have to bring another lawsuit soon. But go there and you see everything that we do here. There's articles. Jack writes articles there. And also, you go to the store. Right there, you hit the shop button. We have shirts. We have mugs. We have everybody's favorite. Here's the social engineer shirt.
I like that. It's good.
You got the best, the Joe Cop shirt. You got the new one, hair bag for life. You know, you can either say this is because you are one, or you want to point a finger at who's one. It works both ways. You can land on both sides of the, you know. So salgreco.com, get your store, get your shirt, go to the store, and you can also support us, watch the show, read the articles. A lot more to come there. So the next part of business I want to get to is, we were talking about this creep behavior. So I did this the other day. We got some news on Inspector Schlubin in the NYPD. So let's put this up.
So late night breaking news in the Sal Greco Show exclusive. Remember the Sal Greco Show telling you about an Inspector Jeremy Schlubin? You remember when a case was filed by Attorney John Scola representing his client NT, who stated that this inspector, who ran a frat house in the 4-6 precinct, was making unwanted advances and all other kinds of allegations, which she took to the Bronx DA, who for 14 months did nothing, internal affairs did nothing, and then this inspector gets promoted to the Bronx Patrol Bureau. Well, as of tonight, after John Scola's emergency TRO filing, looking for a restraining order to take this inspector's gun and his right to supervise this officer away, he has now been modified. And oh, by the way, Inspector Schlubin was at the scene of that Bronx off-duty shooting the other night, but was turned away. He was told to leave. But he is now modified. So good job by John Scola, now setting a precedent that a TRO may now be able to do what internal affairs and a district attorney failed to do in many of these cases.
So that inspector finally got modified and also got transferred to Manhattan North. So Eric, the big part about this thing is that there was John Scola filed this TRO for his client NT. I saw you put something up, but that's the first time anything like this has had any kind of effect, because obviously it was under investigation for 14 months. I don't know. Nothing happened there with IB. Then on the criminal aspect with Garcelle Clark, in this very lawsuit that was filed, Vanessa Gibson, who was the Bronx borough president, who's very chummy with this guy, by the way, she's in there and they're asking her to preserve her phone and all this stuff because she's also friends with Garcelle Clark. So we saw no action from the Bronx, no action from internal affairs. So now he's modified and transferred, which it took a threat of a TRO. I don't even think it's signed yet. So
he had been investigated since January of 2025. So to set the record straight, it's been about 15 months since the investigation started.
Yeah. So what is your take on that? Because this is a new precedent. I've never seen this before.
No, I think it's a genius move. I comment on it because I actually never seen anyone thought about that. As a matter of fact, I never really gave it any thought. That's honestly a really genius move. I kind of like that. Although I slightly disagree how he wanted to go about it. You don't need the court to intervene. All you need the court is make a determination that the person is a threat to a litigant. That's all you need. And guess what? She's going to say, okay, you're precluded for any firearm. And that, by definition, is going to cause the police department to modify him anyway, without her getting into politics of the department. She could just make a threat assessment and have a hearing. And believe me, if she wasn't a police officer, that's probable cause to arrest. I mean, I don't know why we're really talking about it. He should have been arrested for what she's claiming.
This is just another classic example of the department brushing things under the rug and selectively enforcing their own internal rules. Because Schlubin, we all know he's an inspector, right? If this was a police officer or a lower level employee and the relationship was reversed, if it had been a police officer and a sergeant, investigated, terminated, sued immediately. But because it's an inspector who's higher up on the pecking order, we're just going to let it go. Also, we don't know what Schlubin's relationship with One Police Plaza and more specifically management is. To me, that's always the X factor whenever a cop is investigated, because everyone wants to ask the question, what took so long? Why did things not happen as smoothly as we thought they would? It's because he might be making calls to management, and only when the media started increasing the pressure on the department to do something did they follow suit, which is a sad commentary on the state of affairs with the NYPD too. No, because we shouldn't have to put pressure on them for them to take action.
Let's go do the right thing from the very beginning. And I'm sure it's pretty interesting. They'll never openly say this, but this is probably one of the first time they see me actually align with another lawyer on the case. And I gave them a whole opinion about it. Matter of fact, you're going about it. It's the right mechanism, but I think you can do it this way because it's much easier to do it that way. You normally don't see lawyers do that. But in this case, NT could help all these other people that accuse these police officers of all kinds of outlandish cases, including the upcoming Quartisha Epps, just in case you think I forgot about it. It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
And when you transfer someone, it gives off the impression that it's okay to go act like they were acting before when they're at their next precinct. And that's another area where I take objection. Because, listen, the department says we have so many people within our department. If two people don't get along, let's try and transfer one of them to alleviate the issue. I understand that logic if there's a personal disagreement or if two sides just are kind of butting heads a little too frequently. It's not a good relationship dynamic. But when they're posing a physical threat to someone on the job, also this individual individual could call that person and threaten them and say, you got me transferred. This is what you're doing. I'm going to retaliate against you. So there was no disciplinary action taken, which is the biggest objection here. And their biggest issue, they're going to have to answer questions about that in the courtroom first and foremost, because the first question from attorneys, when did you first find out about the original accusations? What actions did you take? And if the answers are insufficient, they're going to be facing the consequences.
Right.
Yeah.
Because are you suggesting she's lying about it? But if she's not being truthful, that means she's a threat to the public safety. Because after all, assuming she's still making arrests, she's interacting with the public. You're not saying that, are you? No. Then you can't have it both ways.
Yeah. Now, I want to get to the next thing, because you had broke something on your X feed about I guess you have this redacted complaint from the DOI in regards to, was it probation, right? The probation department in New York City. So tell us about this, because I see this document. So what are we looking at?
Oh, the Department of Probation has lots of problems too. You know, one of the reasons why, and this is for all the people who like to try to stop Sal and Jack from running this platform, you know, I'm here to support it. That's one of the main reasons why I'm here to do it, is support it, to support their right to bring this stuff to you.
Oh, you mean you're not narrative building? You're not narrative building?
No, we don't narrative build. And I'm going to make sure, if I'm still around, to make sure that you guys have an opportunity to have your voices heard under the First Amendment, because guess what? You're part of the press, whether they like it or not. The bottom line is, people come here and they send me information. They send information to you because they want corruption broken out into the public. That's what they want, because they go traditional media routes, and guess what they find? Narrative building, right? Oh, we don't put that. You're not verifying it. I put the document so people can see it. They're claiming that the person who's in part of the commission now had an inappropriate sexual relationship with the council and all this other kind of stuff. And this went to DOI. So Mayor Mamdani and the council, I sent it directly to them. DOI, you got to take a look at this, because the people are talking about major problems, and the agency has just been reorganized with new management. Corruption already. See, I talk about the spoil system. People don't worry. It's the spoil system, baby. It's nothing to do with qualifications.
So the most egregious element of all of this to me, last week we heard from the New York City Council, from Speaker Julie Menon, that they were no longer going to be representing Tim Pearson and Jeffrey Madry. Right decision. When we hear about this situation,
Eric Adams,
Jeremy, the inspector involved, is being represented by the Captain's Endowment Association, meaning that he's getting taxpayer-funded representation for the most part, as I understand it, because that's a taxpayer-funded agency, right? Takes dues from the members, but still taxpayer-funded and member-funded too, which actually on some level makes it worse, because everyone in that union is now funding his legal defense. So yeah, I mean, that's like a really another troubling detail here, is that you have someone who's being accused of wrongdoing and they're being defended at the expense of the members of their union and the taxpayers, which doesn't presume innocence, but it almost implies it. Like, if they have the right to prove themselves until they're proven guilty, we're going to take their side until the end. And that really rubs me the wrong way too, because I thought we were cleaning up the wasteful spending in the legal department.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. If you go to an insurance carrier and try to get coverage, if you're accused of intentional conduct, they don't care whether or not it's been sustained against you or not. They're not going to represent you. They're going to say this falls outside the coverage. And the union should do the same thing. Look, we've all been around long enough that we have an idea where these things happen. That's another little dirty little secret they won't tell you. They don't tell you, oh, no, they know, because certain of these people, they have ongoing reputation going from one command to another, doing the same thing. Why represent them? You want to pay and you want to do these things, you pay for it. Why should the membership pay for that? And
this is what Captain Chris Monahan said too. This was particularly disgusting.
I have a lot to say about him, but I'm gonna hold my
Eric, we'll save that for another episode. We'll be here all afternoon. But anyway, he said we look forward to a fair and thorough investigation. And then he also said earlier, once this is his lawyer, this is from him. He said it was a sad day because lawsuits are dictating department policies. In other words, he thinks that because he was transferred, the situation was adequately dealt with, so we shouldn't be talking about it at all anymore. I mean, what type of nonsense is this? What he should be saying is we want a fair investigation for both parties, and we're going to withhold judgment until all the details have been revealed. Instead, he instantly takes the inspector's side.
Yeah,
There needs to be more nonpartisanship in these types of proceedings, because it's almost as if it's now a battle between ranks. Oh, you're a police officer or a sergeant and I'm a captain. My union is going to stick it to your union, and that's going to be the end of it. No. This is based on morality and what's right and wrong.
Want to settle this case real quick? I'll tell you how you do it. 1, did you invite her to your office? Yes or no? Were you alone in the office by yourself with her? Yes or no? Did you close the door? Yes or no? Why? You can give me all the gyrations you want to, and then interview the people in the command, and male officers especially. Oh, does the CO invite you to his office? No. Does he have you in the office by yourself? No. Does he close the door? No. Oh, and you interview the women. Guess what? You start to see a pattern developing. The ones that are attractive, he likes to have in his office to discuss things. Come on, we've been around this culture long enough. We know how the game is played.
Yeah.
Remember, all you have to do is 51-49. More likely than not, it occurred. She was in the office. She came out disheveled. Guess what? He did it. You think he's going to say he did it? Come on. It's not rocket science. It really isn't.
I like this one comment. It's funny right here. Rag Rock says, just keep moving them around like priests in the Catholic Church.
Exactly. That's right. That's accurate. Yeah. But eventually they paid.
Yeah, so we covered that, and I got 2 more things. Number 1, this thing, the great Sam Antar. I know you haven't heard me mention his name in a while, as he was tied up with all kinds of things with Tish James. He's been on the show. So here he is. This is on his X feed right now. You go whitecollarfraud.com for the article. New investigation. NYPD publishes 2 official reports every week. One says crime is down nearly 6%. The other, published by the same department covering the same city the same week, says transit disorder complaints up 29%. Housing disorder complaints up 29%. Disorderly person calls up 20%. Total 911, 911 quality of life issues calls plus 11. Drug calls minus 35%, real and noted. So look, the quality of life excludes crime calls. That's the point. It captures the conditions. CompStat doesn't. They have never explained the gap. Nobody has asked. Yeah. And he gets into all of this stuff, which is crazy. So you see that, Eric, Jack, it doesn't matter who the mayor is. The narrative, the perception management, all of that stays the same. And it's just make the soccer mom look pretty?
It doesn't matter who the mayor is, but it does matter who the police commissioner is, because I'm not saying Edward Caban was some sort of saint. Far from it, as a matter of fact. He was highly corrupt. But the minute that Jessica Tisch took over and you had a different front-forward face in the role, everything started to change. Crime was down. The department was doing a good job handling internal discipline. She was doing a good job of perception management and navigating all of the lawsuits which had plagued the department for the previous decade or so. Yet we didn't hear about all of the things that she was doing wrong, the investigations that she was mishandling, her negligence when handling discipline, and her selective favoritism, which has been highly discussed, especially in the most recent city council hearing. So, I mean, it's almost like being a governmental bureaucrat who's worth in excess of a couple $1 billion, because her family is multi-billionaires, not just a single billionaire. Single isn't enough. But, you know, when you have someone who controls the media, someone who controls the narrative and has a very thorough understanding of the bureaucratic systems in place, having worked in it for a couple of decades, you're able to control the narrative coming out of one police plaza. And that's been a very effective tactic as far as she's concerned. To test the effectiveness of this, though, I would like to see someone else become police commissioner for a week who's a civilian, not a law enforcement member of the department. See how it goes, and let's kind of compare and contrast notes about the two differences.
Well, I kind of wrote about this before. There are no longitudinal studies anywhere in the world that can show a direct correlation between police policies and reduction of crime. There's a multitude of factors that occur in order for crime to go down. Matter of fact, if you look at the FBI index, you can see crime is going down across the whole entire United States. So it's all BS. What's not in there, and no one has talked about it yet, I think Sal talked about it, he's the only one to talk about it, was all these jobs that are being held in the queue. All these jobs that are sitting there that are being not responded to, by the way, 30, 40, 50, 60 jobs, because guess what? There are enough people on patrol. So it gets to the point they don't even respond to them anymore. They don't talk about that part.
They're
And
saying
a lot
that
of those people are her own personal cronies.
No,
She
no, we're
just-
talking about just the jobs that the police officers could be assigned to. They're just sitting out there in the queue, holding 20, holding 30, holding 40, holding 50, holding 60. No one's responding to them.
you got to read this one. Commissioner Tisch and DA on news reporting 25% down on gun violence. I guess they didn't include the off-duty shooting in the Bronx the other day from one of their own.
Right.
This is what I'm talking about with this. The whole thing is a rotted out tree, and you got to be able. Someone's got to be able to point fingers and say, no. You're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing that. So I guess yesterday, Eric, we learned about something. So I made a little video about that, and this is what everybody's been waiting for. So let's play this and let's get into this. It has come to my attention that the New York City Police Department has been spying on me and the Sal Greco Show. And how do we know that? Well, there's a witness to all of this. And soon there'll be litigation against Michael Gerber, Eddie Thompson, Mr. Chief of Internal Affairs, and of course, the soccer mom who loves to cover up corruption, because that's what this is really all about. I'm not a criminal. I don't even have a parking ticket, let alone I haven't stepped foot in New York City in 2 years plus. So you use Verizon once again to administratively subpoena my phone records? I'm a private citizen. Why are you asking people about Sal Greco? What's the issue with me? You don't like that I'm reporting on your corruption, whether it be your little incident at the DL, Mr. Chief LePetri, a.k.a. Hansy, with the soccer mom, or that there's fraternization everywhere from the Chief of Internal Affairs office to the 4-6 precinct to the cops or detectives that were supposed to be guarding Julie Menon at the city council. So I don't really know, but there's going to be a lot of litigation in the future. And to learn more about this, keep watching the Sal Greco Show Mondays and Thursdays at 11:05 a.m. Eastern. And if you can, please, if you want to support us, go to salgreco.com, click that support button, because this is when we're going to need you the most, because this fight for our freedom and for the press and for people's rights not to be violated. Your Fourth Amendment right being violated. But before I let you leave it, I knew they got all their little stooges, some of them being in the chat. You got one guy in particular that's in a lawsuit somehow. He wants to pop in here. But, it's like, I don't know. I don't understand the logic of these people that you're already in litigation with me, and you've already admitted your administrative subpoenas were illegal, and yet you're still doing this, and you did this to someone else in the press not too long ago, and you had to you had to settle that one real quick, right? So I don't know what the hell these people are thinking or what they're doing, but I know you also wrote a whole thing about this as well. So what could you derive out of this, or what can you say out of all of this?
Okay, so the person was done to before I actually intervened in that one, and that was a reporter for the Post. I intervened in that one and wrote a letter to de Blasio, and at the same time, I don't know if you remember Ron Kuby. He's another guy. Him and these guys, William Custer, he's deceased now. God rest his soul. But these guys used to, they get the energy up for this government abuse. So between the two of us, we wrote letters to the. He wrote a letter on behalf of Tina Moore, and I wrote a letter on behalf of Detective. And all of a sudden, poof, like magic, all this inquiry into their records and stuff stopped. But see what happens when you don't go after them, they kind of have a short memory, and then they kind of do the same things. This time, they're going to face the fury. They're just not going to face it necessarily right now, because I made a little gentleman's agreement last night not to do anything for about a week. But in about a week, they're going to get a whole bunch of fury. Because if you think, and this is one of my goals, and my goal is to keep the Sal Greco Show alive, right? That means they have a First Amendment right to do exactly what they're doing, whether you like it or not. And I know you think you could figure out where these leaks are coming from. They come from all fucking over. They're coming from internal affairs. They come from group one. So if you're listening, it's coming from your fucking group two. All right. It's coming from the soccer's mom's office with your own people. And not who you think they are, by the way. They're coming from all over the place. We love them. You know why? Because they know this man is honest. He's going to put it out to the public. And that's what he's here to do. And I'm going to do it because I'm a very straight shooter. You can't buy me off. So the point is, you could keep on doing all this silly emotional bullshit, but eventually it's going to hurt you because Sal is a civilian and I'm a civilian. Now, I may not bring a case against you, but remember, my name is not Eric Sanders. So when you address me in these so-called questioning, did you speak to Eric Sanders? Remember to put something behind that. Eric Sanders Esquire, or put the name in front. Attorney Eric Sanders, because the last time I checked, I'm still a practicing attorney. And if you start asking someone a question about me, you're impinging on that attorney-client privilege because you don't know what I'm talking to them about, including exposing corruption. But I can tell you now, these telephone companies that just grant these things willy-nilly with these subpoenas, we're going to keep pushing for it to eventually it's going to break between those Fourth Amendment issues and also, who's saying I got to keep it professional? I am being professional. I mean, I know I'm not telling you the language. I'm speaking cop language now. So that's the only thing some people seem to understand. The bottom line is the cellular phone companies, they're violating your privacy by giving this stuff up. When there's a subpoena issued against a person, what they're supposed to do is the company's supposed to say, hey, there's a subpoena. You have a right to challenge it. That's the law. And it's being completely flaunted. And what's happening in the South has happened to a whole lot of other people too. They just don't have the guts to fight them.
And it can happen to anyone. That's the one
right.
thing that we try and emphasize as well on the show. Everyone in life, whether it be unemployment or income equality or whatever, it's all fun and games when you're talking about an issue, but when it's actually happening to you, it's like, holy crap, it's humanizing it a little more.
Can you imagine a law enforcement agency is digging into your phone records for what? I didn't commit a crime because you know damn well they couldn't get a subpoena because they would have to go to either federal judge or criminal court judge, Supreme Court judge to make a probable cause. Someone would have to swear that you are violating some section of law and get a probable cause. No probable cause, just like the Fourth Amendment says in the Constitution, you get it. You don't get it, bam, denied. With this, they're just doing what the hell they want to do. They're searching your records, your friends' records, your mommy's records, everybody's records. Come on.
You can't allow them to have too much power when searching for probable cause too, because they could retaliate against you by looking at things in your personal life, which have nothing to do with your professional career, right? This is a very sneaky department in a lot of different ways. If they suspect that you have a partner who was involved in something previously, or you're dating someone, I mean, they could be really invasive in terms of supervising and monitoring your life. And then if they find out, oh, you dated this person 10 years ago before you were in the department, now we can terminate you. They can kind of bend the rules a little bit. So this is really just an invasion on privacy, and it's very sad to see what's happening to Sal, especially because he's been gone from the department for a couple of years. Once you're out of sight, you should be out of mind until you're in the courtroom, of course, because he'll get his day then.
Citizen. You don't have a right to investigate citizens unless you're saying they're involved in criminal activity, which he's not. Talking about police corruptions is not. Talking to people and people giving him documents that expose the corruption is not a crime. Talking about is not a crime. Talking to people in the media is not a freaking crime. So I know you'll have the Moonies, they drink all the Jesus juice, but guess what? None of that is against the law. And as well within employees' right to speak it all day long. So anyone who's ever been internal affairs do this to you, come to me. I'll represent you because they're full of shit. They have no authority over you. You could talk to anybody you want to talk to, and you could talk about corruption all day long because the Garcetti says you can. That's the Supreme Court case too, by the way, because we're a nation of laws, not department rules.
All right, Samara Cohen, he said too many haters in the chat. One guy,
we love haters. Haters keep you in business. Remember, the laws tell you right.
The haters keep you in business. It's perfect for me. I mean, you know, one of these guys is in a lawsuit. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, you just don't worry.
But you know what's sad about the haters? They love it. Until they're victim also. They're the biggest victims in the world. Oh my God, I can't believe they did it to me. I can't believe. And then you find they violate all the department rules. What are you whining about? Oh, they can't believe it. I'm a victim. Oh, okay, go over there. I don't represent people like you. I don't. Because you're not doing it in good faith. What you want me to do is help you to skirt the system. And I'm not going to be a party to that. So yes, you could talk to Sal Greco all day long. When you spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours talking about a show, something's wrong with you guys. I think you could do a little bit better than that. But then again, they won't go after corrupt cops because they're scared of them.
There's no such thing as negative publicity either.
Yeah, well, it really isn't.
They're chickens. People in internal affairs, chickens. You've always been chickens. And
But-
see, I'm telling you straight from the cop, because the corrupt people, they'll never chase them. You know why? Because they're afraid they're going to come after the families, everything else. They fool around with the average Joe cops with the nickel and dime bullshit. Well, he's saying something bad about us. But is it true? Oh, no, we don't want to address that part. Oh, okay, that's not thought. Okay.
Eric, last time they put narcotics and then said, well, I was still an employee of the NYPD. They said narcotics, and then they said, we never suspected him of narcotics use. We never dole tested Mr. Greco. So then why'd you put that on that administrative subpoena? So what's the excuse now? I'm not even an employee. I haven't stepped foot in New York City in 2 years.
See, when you're an employee, they can play the game, but now you are a citizen. You know what that means? They need the Fourth Amendment.
How does that work? How did I do anything from over 2,000 miles away? That's going to be.
Let them explain that to a judge. How you got an administrative subpoena to search a citizen's records? Oh, isn't that what ICE had? Oh, you didn't see it? ICE finally capitulated. Oh, we misunderstood the rules because it never gave us enforcement activity powers in the courthouses. Well, no shit, Sherlock. I've been saying that from day one. Did you see it? It came out today. Now they're all over the country capitulating. Oh, no, the agency attorney, now they're trying to do this. The agency attorney, the Department of Justice, because they got to represent all the agencies, they made a mistake in the error. You made a mistake? You didn't notice? I told you to sitting from New York. Or what about the FBI agent that all of a sudden he was supposed to get all these records about, I think it was the Atlanta case, and all of a sudden, judge said, no, quash. No warrant, no probable cause. Because now they're starting to wake up with all this abuse.
There's so much of it. This is funny because I pre-Franco says, I just like to say, if you're involved in a lawsuit brought by the host of this show and you're on here, you are wrong.
What's unethical about it? I don't accept money. I don't want money. I don't promote myself. And I'm talking about a legal issue that not only affects him, but affects other people. Attorneys do this all day long. They're on MSNBC, CNN. You see, this is what I'm talking about. People do a lot of talking, but hey, listen, baby, there's nothing unethical about it.
It's like politics in a lot of ways, right? The attorneys like to go on these shows and talk about what they're doing in the courtroom, but when you find them in the actual courtroom, they're like scared dogs getting up in a corner in the fetal position, right?
Yeah. Right, because I only talked a little bit about his case, by the way. All this other stuff had to do with all other different things related to legal stuff. So I know, but don't worry about
it. Especially Madry's attorney. He seems to specialize in press conferences while failing in taking legal action. No, he create every time he's at a press conference, because like I used to think he was an actor who played an attorney that went to press conferences. He seems straight out of Spider-Man or something like that, right? I mean, he always has these signs and he always makes these big statements and how these accusations are false and how he can't wait to see anyone in the courtroom. Then you see him in the courtroom and he has nothing to say. It's the same playbook every single time.
Yeah. And I'm in the courtroom, so if anybody will come, you can come watch me. Actually, I know how to do a little something as an attorney, just a little bit. But no, I don't accept, which is why I don't accept money. I don't contribute money. I don't do anything. But I will do two things. I will help this show survive as long as I'm around, because they have an absolute unfettered right. They're not screaming hatred. They're not saying blow up the world. They're saying here's public corruption. Here's things that you should be concerned about. And they have a right to talk about it and to broadcast it to anyone who's willing to listen. That's what the First Amendment says. And if you have a problem with that, you don't believe in the Constitution like you claim. You just believe in it for some and not others.
Well stated. So, Eric, I guess where can people reach you?
Well, you can see me on X on _ Esquire Sanders, whatever it is. I don't really pay attention, but you can find me. You can find my website. Of course, I write about a lot of different issues for free to give people free information, and I'm on LinkedIn. But the bottom line is, if more people would challenge this stuff, we wouldn't be in a situation with people's rights. And the same people that are saying, oh, they're promoting it, doing this, the things that Sal's fighting for, the things I fight for, you benefit from it.
That's the truth. You're just trying to educate people and make them better. But I guess some people love that locker room or that bar stool or that bar, whatever. That's where that's their life.
They're entitled to do that.
They can do what they want, but you're still trying to educate even the low information. I mean, that's the goal in life, right? Even you just try. You want to make people better and more informed, and then they make educated decisions. Some people let emotions, even in uniform, you let emotions overwhelm you. I mean, hopefully that doesn't cost you vacation days of your career. I'm trying to make you avoid that, because don't give the people that actually want to hurt innocent people that do their job. Don't give them that big shiny object to go, here we go. We got him now. Something like what you saw, that's a big shiny object that they say, now we got him. Now we got him. See, this is what you're doing. That's not how the cops do. It's just a bad moment, but you shouldn't, you got to be aware of your surroundings at all times. It's all that.
I know the Kool-Aid drinkers don't see this. They think this is a disservice, but I'm going to tell you how it's a service. But your employer, the city of New York, in particular, the police department, city of New York, since we talk about it a lot, they have a legal obligation to let the employees know that you have rights in the workplace. And you know what that's about? Workplace safety rules. That means you have people that are sick. You have people accidental discharges, all kinds of stuff. That should be listed. But guess what? It's not. So guess what? They violate your rights every day. The cops are just like the worst people. They have their rights trampled on every day, and they walk around just sipping Kool-Aid all day. Oh, the job. The job don't care about you. They don't even care about your rights. Mm-hmm. Everyone should know about whether someone was sexually assaulted in your building, whether it's true or not. You should know that someone's making an allegation, because that's what the law says. Your employee doesn't follow law. You don't even know. Someone accidental discharge, someone shot, someone complained about sexual harassment, and you're entitled to know this information, but they don't tell you. So when you come here, you get more of a public service than you could even imagine, because they'll never tell you about 2 cops took a loaded gun and put on the top of a desk. They'll never tell you that. That's
crazy.
Imagine put it on a desk and it discharge, boom, because it looked like it was a Glock, right? And sometimes they get discharged, right? Boop, they shoot the guy over there. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, didn't fix that guy. He's now brain dead, or he's got serious physical injuries, or the civilian employee over there is now injured. Come on, man. You need to wake up and stop believing all this nonsense. And you know what's the sad part about it? Is the unions and the people, they can never openly tell you this, because you have to believe all of, yeah, we're all together, yeah. But in the background, they're going, that's a good job, I agree with you, because they can't go outside the group think. You come here for individual think, not group think.
Yeah. On the way, I'm pre-Franco says, Eric, do that voice again. I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't pay attention to that nonsense. But I'm being sarcastic. But bottom line is, it doesn't matter to me. Remember, I did my time on the street. You guys are still working out there, and you need to make yourselves as safe in the workplace as you can. I mean, scrutinize your fellow employees too, because they're not here for your best interest. They're out of shape. I can go on and on.
And they're not going to have your back when you need it. That's the most important thing.
Leave you. As my supervisor said, my squad sergeant while I was going to law school, he says, the only thing you'll get is tired.
And disappointed. That was wrong in a sense, because when you need someone to go advocate for you, nobody's home.
Right? BBE 777 says opposing opinions and viewpoints are the basis of a free society. He had the best comments of the day so far. From what I said.
Exactly.
Of course it is. And it's important to it's important to agree to disagree on certain things as well. We agreed to disagree at the very beginning on the tactics involved in that video.
Hold on. But then when you start with ad hominem attacks, you 3 guys don't know, or I love Sal, but or what did you do in your career? You're not addressing the issue at hand, and that's Joe Cop. Sorry, that's the reality. Only Joe Cop does the ad hominem attacks. There's an issue. There's the video. There's what you're saying. Here's what I'm saying. That's what the courts are going to say. That's it. Not you're this, you're that, you're that. What that is, that's basically what people see is Neanderthals running around like Bam Bam with the club in their hands. That's what the public sees when you start acting like that. That joke ad hominem.
They don't like that you're exposing the dirty little secrets, but guess what? The only way you're going to cleanse the system, and the courts talk about this all the time, is to do what? Shed light on it. And actually it makes it better for you whether you agree with it or not. These workplace rules are in place and improve over time because people took risks. People took risks. They've sued. People have been injured. They've been killed. All these work is because of actions. And if you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you, but they have an absolute right to do what they're doing. And Internal Affairs and anybody else can be upset about it. You can question employees ad nauseum. The First Amendment covers this completely for an employee too, because 9 times out of 10, if the employees are talking about it and sending things out, it's because related to public corruption and way outside the Garcetti case, which says if you're talking about public matters, guess what? You could wrap yourself in the American flag and say First Amendment all day long. Sorry. It's a reality.
Well, you'll be back soon because I think we'll be discussing that other stuff very soon. So we'll talk. Good seeing you, Eric.
Oh, and some tidbits you got to watch Sal coming up because there's some other little tidbits of things coming up from the department. And they're not from the people you think it is. These are from even more different commands. This is beautiful. I love it. Keep the information coming. We love it.
Great stuff, Eric. Great stuff. Thanks, man. We'll see you again soon.
Yeah, actually, Matt O'Brien. So if I disagree, I'm about the EDP. I'm a Joe cop. No, you have civil. You do things. We're talking like me and you will be talking. Oh, this and that. When you start with you three don't understand because, or you did this in your career. Oh, what was the other guy talking about arrests and all this other stuff or whatever? I can't. Oh, you go back and look, but it's like that. Joe Cop starts like that. They always hit you. It's an ad hominem attack. They never address the issue. That's the whole point. You address the issue. That's a civil discussion. Is a civil discourse. Hitting people personally. That's basically, it's just all full-blown hatred and all this other stuff. Or then there's the praise him before you hit him routine. I love Sal, but blah, 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 blah. Listen, I don't play these games. We're going to have a civil discourse, and I just don't have the mental capacity anymore to deal with the ad hominem, attacks, that's the Joe Cop.
Listen, if you want to have a debate about facts and the circumstances involved in a situation, I'm all for it. And if you disagree with me and you want to curse me out and you want to curse Sal out, go right ahead. But the minute you start attacking us personally, that's when you've crossed the proverbial line in the sand. And you can't do that. Once you do that, there's no going back. And it's just sad to see all the people taking low blows on social media. When we're having a debate about one thing, they'll say, oh, you're just mad because you were wrongfully terminated. You're just someone who was never a cop. You can't criticize tactics, blah, blah, blah. No, we're going to have a discussion based on what actually happened, whether you agree or disagree, and we're going to just proceed forward. That's the way that normal situations are sorted out. Not saying you're a horrible person, you're an idiot, you're a cop hater, because that really doesn't solve the issue at hand. It's just mindless rhetoric. Mindless rhetoric.
You have to change the culture from within. If you're just going to sit there and throw pom-poms for everybody, that's a problem because you're not addressing any of the major issues because there's people that are literally being tortured by either supervisor, whatever it is, and where they work. And you see that this job has also a lot of suicides that no one likes to talk about. Well, you got to change the whole culture. It's very negative. You can see by some of the people in the comments, very negative today, right? So I'm just this is what we're trying to address. Like, I don't have a problem. Chief Edwards was at MSG. MSG wants to honor the guy. Listen, the soccer mom actually finally honored everyone. It was a little late. She honored everyone. Hopefully, people get promoted. I hope they get their own special medals made for them, everything. From the hero cops, detectives, everyone that was on that scene that day. That's how it should be. But I don't have a problem. MSG, they can honor whoever the hell they want. It's not a police thing. I know some people got upset over that, but I'd be more upset that the Rangers can't seem to win a game. I'm
more upset that James Dolan kicked out Charles Oakley. What was that all about?
Yeah, what was that about? I mean, it's just what can I say? You know, but I'm saying, you know, that's people. You can have disagreements, arguments, but the minute you start with that rhetoric, and the flip side of a Joe Cop would be a thug, because you talk like a thug. You mention in words snitches, this, that. People don't talk like that. Regular people. And that's why this is the kind of stuff that erodes the public's trust. They look at you and go, so that's what this is all about. This is what really goes on behind that blue wall. And they don't want to talk to cops. They don't want to know what goes on. They're upset about your behavior, the way you talk. And if that's the way you really are, and they don't know about it, but that's how you really are, then they don't want people like you being out there being police officers. They don't want that. People make mistakes. Some are major, like you saw. Others are very minuscule. I don't like the people taking a minuscule thing and blowing it up into a big thing. Striking someone at handcuffed, that's a big thing. But again, that video was already viral. I can't believe it's gone on this long. It's crazy to even think about that. Whether you think it's right or wrong, in legal terms, it's going to be a problem. And that's basically what I'm highlighting. And I'm saying that people, regular people, which is the super majority right now, right? Because out of hundreds of millions of people that live in this country, you don't have hundreds of millions of police officers. You have hundreds of millions of civilians. Their opinion matters a lot because they pay everyone's salary. So if they think something's wrong, what they say is going to matter more. But there's two things before we get to the last thing you want to get to. The A4 precinct. Yeah, that's the latest place to have a little fraternizing scandal going on. And looks like commanding officer involved with a subordinate there. I'll have more details in the future, but that's not looking good. That's a major allegation coming out of there as well. And there's a trail of evidence too. It's just, it doesn't stop. And if people, you shouldn't want this. This is not, I mean, just know people cry, favoritism, all this kind of stuff. And this is why. And you wonder then what's going on? And you go, what? All the fraternizing stuff. You got to be professional. They don't do this in the military. And if they do, they root you out. The minute they find out, they flip that script, you're gone. They're going to transfer, they're going to send you to wherever it is. They don't want that because they want you to remain professional. You need a professional working environment. You can't be coming in here and this kind of crazy things going on. It's just not going to work. I don't want to say PB77 is such a pro. Like he says, saying for all the experts in the comments is the other side of the coin. However, it goes both ways. Just making a point. Rational conversation is rarely welcome in most settings. I agree. He's right. But that's what I'm saying. Like he's the one that he's making the most sense in this whole thing. Now, there's another thing coming up in Manhattan North. It involves the detective bureau. It involves other stuff too. And it goes down these, we'll say, racial tropes. And this is stuff that I don't like and I don't like hearing and seeing, but there's supposed to be, there's people have seen there's evidence of this stuff. There's rampant corruption everywhere. I'm just letting people know. You can hate this show, you can hate me. You can't stop the truth from coming. And that's what is out there. There's stuff all over the police department. The soccer mom has a mess, whether she condones it or she doesn't. And in my opinion, my professional opinion, she should resign or be fired. I know she'll probably stick around till the World Cup, as you and I discussed. I don't know how much more this could go on like this. And Eric did say a racial trope case in Queens North with a video of an in-house performer police cadet. It's scary that this is the stuff that goes on. I mean, I don't know what your take is on that, Jack, but this is just.
Yeah, I know we've gone a little bit long today, so I'll keep it brief. But yeah, I mean, it's sad to hear that new revelations keep coming out of the department, given the long list of lawsuits they already have against them. And you just hope that eventually something change, but there's no reason for optimism in the short term that it will.
Yeah. And for that, another guy in here that's out of his mind, listen, I'm for people's rights. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a fan of someone or whatever. I'm not a fan. You better hope. I want people to say this. If that was you or your family member or a friend of yours being punched handcuffed, how would you feel? Would you start spewing all your nonsense or going, oh, wait a minute, it's civil rights, but they hit me? Somebody being locked up had their rights violated. It's a major federal case. Would you want everything to be the way it should be, or do you want the police department running out there with the mayor and throwing subterfuges everywhere saying you're guilty and the guy's eyebrows? I don't like the guy. I don't. This guy is in the comments, this guy Frank, who's out of control. A fan of Luigi Mangione. I'm a fan of the rights. And if your rights are trampled on, whether you get emotional over that or not, it's still someone's rights. That's what this country was built on, whether you or anyone else likes it or not. So you have to be for someone's rights. So that's what protects everyone. If you go on emotions, a lot of things, everything falls like Rome. It'll be burning. You know, you have one last thing too. You want to say something, Jack? Did John Catsimatidis run to Mayor Mamdani?
Yeah, we're gonna save that for the next episode because
that was a beauty, a real beauty yesterday. So John,
too many layers. We'll talk about that on the next episode. John Catsimatidis and Mayor Mamdani had a meeting. We'll talk about the implications, what went on in their meeting, and everything related to that in a future episode. It's just going to take a little bit too long. I want to have a sufficient length conversation about it.
We'll get to that in the next one. There's so much, but I wanted to make this more about the police department today, and of course now phone records. Let's treat journalists like they're criminals from miles away, and I don't know how they're going to justify that one. So to be continued. By the way, tomorrow at Highlight, the Chargers will be playing. We're in first place. We won the other day, so you can check that out. WorldHighlightLeague.com. Check it out at 7 p.m. We're at the Jam Arena. Also, once again, salgreco.com. Click that support button. Help us out. Obviously, now there's more lawsuits flying all over the place. It's unbelievable. Like, these people are just nonstop with their adolescent behavior, with how they react to things. Also, go to the store, get your favorite shirt. You got your favorite. You want to be a hairbag. You want to be a Joe Cop. Social engineering. You got it all. It's all covered there. You can buy the shirts, buy the mugs. Show some support to the Sal Greco Show. I mean, some of this stuff is hysterical. I mean, the social engineering shirt is this is funny stuff. I mean, we're trying to have fun and have people. That's how you get the supporters. We're buying a shirt or a mug, so you can do that. Also, don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Rumble at the Sal Greco Show. Also on TikTok, that's been on fire at the Sal Greco Show. You can follow us also on Instagram at the Sal Greco Show, and of course on X and Instagram at the Sal Greco, and of course follow Jack at J_Stern97. Spring training is over. The Major League Baseball started, so we got to watch.
Yankees 7-run barrage yesterday in San Francisco, and a wonderful outing from Max Fried. How about that start?
I can't believe that. And the Mets are playing today. Italy's playing today. If they don't win, they're gone. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So without any further ado, if you got nothing else, Jack, we'll be seeing you on Monday at 11:05 a.m. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Of course, stay tuned because you never know what news is going to trickle out next. So we'll be signing off from South Florida. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Enjoy your time. Enjoy sports. Baseball is back. So we're signing off from South Florida, which, as you know, is a sunny place for shady people.
What I'm asking New Yorkers for is to look back at all the things I've done as a deputy commissioner for operations, as assistant commissioner, and my time as a not only as a New Yorker but as a police officer. I get stuff done.
Listen, there was a book that came out that Jasmine Ray wrote, and in the Daily News today, it stated that there was a sexual action that happened in Borough Hall. She reported in that book. And it wasn't. You're a dark, sick person, man. You know that? You're a dark, sick person. Your name was on the byline. And there's some of you that have been covering me. You guys could part. Let me do this. Y'all could depart. Y'all could depart. Some of you have been covering me for 3.5 years. Some of you are so sick and dark, and you're the leader of that. You're one of the most dark writers that I've ever seen in this city. And your personal sick vendetta and the sickness of how you think of over-sexualizing a black man, that in the book it stated that there was a sexual action in Borough Hall. That was never in the book. But that's typical of the sickness and the darkness of your sick mind. You're one of the sickest reporters I know. Go to the next question. You're a sick person.